with Team Special Forces, and I am joined by Heather today, who just competed in her first ever bodybuilding competition last Sunday. So less than a week after being off stage.
Yeah.
So let's see. I know that Heather is such an inspiration to so many different people. So I wanted to take the chance to sit down and interview her today to kind of share her journey about what led her to try the sport of bodybuilding. So let's see. Tell us a little bit about yourself, where you live, about your family.
My name is Heather, of course. I'm 46 years old. I live here in Lake Stevens, Washington, with my husband, my 2 daughters. I have 3 kids, actually. I have an older adult son who's out of the home, and then our daughters are 12 and 9. We're just really, really busy because sports activities and life and school just keeps us really, really, busy. And I'm fortunate that I'm able to, I work in the home. I'm a housewife, mom, stay-at-home mom. So, so I do have a little bit more probably flexibility in my day to like work out, be at the gym, and
Right. So Heather started with Team Special Forces just about 6 months ago with the plan of doing her first show. And then last weekend completed that goal by stepping on stage at the Northwest Championships, which is an NPC show. The NPC is a division of bodybuilding. So for those of you that don't know, there are different categories for both men and women. So Heather competed in a division that's called the Wellness division of the women's categories. So just a little overview of what that category looks like. We're looking for a lean, toned, but feminine, athletic-looking upper body with a little more emphasis on lower body development, larger glutes, larger quads, larger hamstrings, and a really like extra flair to the posing that goes with it. So that was a really exciting process to watch Heather kind of like morph into the criteria of that division. So tell me a little bit about your athletic background.
I actually I didn't play sports growing up at all. So I started working out when I was 17. So I was a teen mom. And the gym was my safe place. It was my sanctuary. It was where, during that time, that relationship, being a young teen mom, and this is back in 94, 95, Gold's Gyms were still around. And so when I would go to the gym, it was mostly ellipticals were the thing back then. I remember like big time. And then step aerobics.
Yes.
I did a lot of step aerobics. Okay. So a lot of cardio queen through and through. So I've always, since I was 17, I've worked out.
Right.
And then I discovered CrossFit about 14 years ago. So then I did CrossFit, went from, lifestyle. I remember my 20s, I did want to compete.
Okay.
I'm glad I didn't. Because because then it was just like I had a personal trainer, and it was all about, and I've had personal training in the past, but then like I said, I did CrossFit for a solid 13 years.
Okay.
And it wasn't until this last year that I really just kind of hung out my CrossFit shoes. I just had to pick and choose. So I started bodybuilding about 2.5 years ago with a personal trainer, and he's an IFBB pro athlete. And so he kind of helped me get in the space. And so then about a year ago, really exactly a year ago, I was like, all right, what's next? I kind of felt like I obtained a goal of like losing weight. And I felt like my physique the time, I'm like, oh, okay, let's see what more we can do. Right. So then we went into an intentional build, which I'd never done before. I've never intentionally stop doing cardio or just and going in that surplus. And then, I always had kind of one foot in and one foot out, but my husband was very encouraging. He's like, nope, you're going to do this. This has been a goal of yours for a very, very, very long time. And then I joined the gym here in Lake Stevens, and that's where I met you. And I saw you out because I saw Jill. And I was like, dang. Look at her. And then I saw your, IFBB pro, your belt. And I was like, okay, she knows what she's doing. And this is my first time stepping into like a gym. And so I was really intimidated.
Which is funny because I would work out at the same time in the morning, and I would see her, and it's like I didn't know her, but I knew that she was always there at the same time every morning. I knew she was super strong. I had mad respect for the kind of weight she was putting up. So it was always like that, the person that you'd smile and nod at in the morning, but you never really talked to.
But
so
I secretly was so intimidated. Like I was like, am I doing this right? Am I doing these machines right? Like, before that I was personal training with 2 days a week with my former trainer and then working out in my garage. So anyways, and so I just stepped out of my comfort zone. And then when I really was like, okay, I have to have 2 feet in, I really need to do this. I did have some tentative shows I wanted to do, and I was like, nope, not doing them. Nope, wasn't ready. And then finally when I joined your team, it was you and Keith who really gave me that push and that confidence. And you gave me a show, and I was like, all right, this is really happening. And that's it. Yeah.
So perfect segue. How long was your prep?
Yeah, we did what, like a good solid 16-week prep. Yeah, it was great. I mean,
and so during prep, how many days a week did you lift?
We started with 5, and then I ended up doing 6 with like the 6th day being kind of more of like a glute detail, because wellness, it's all lower glute dominant, and quad dominant, but and then cardio was pretty minimal. Up until I think 8 weeks. 8 weeks I think is really when we picked it up. Yeah. And
what did you do for cardio? The majority of it?
Walk. I just walked. It was awesome. Yeah, I did. I mean, and then that's coming from cardio, I called myself cardio queen. Like I used to think that I used to have to spend an hour plus a day doing cardio just to lose the weight. But
well, no, if that's your way of burning calories, you kind of do have to spend that long. But by resistance training and adding muscle, we're burning calories at rest. It's beautiful.
And that was all new to me, because I just didn't know that my body was able and capable of doing that. So that was really,
most people can lift weights and most people can do the cardio. Like it's really not the hardest part. The food really is the hardest part. The diet. So what did you think dieting for contest prep was going to look like before you started prep?
Okay, a little backstory. I have worked with a nutritionist in the past. Again, I feel like I've done everything. I've done every fad diet. I've done everything, all of it, you guys. But I knew I wasn't going to eat seafood, tilapia fish, because I don't eat seafood.
Right.
And so I was like, that's not going to happen. So I was like, okay, well, chicken, the rice, the sweet potatoes, which I like anyway, so that was fine. I also though kind of knew that I had a little bit of freedom and flexibility in there in a way. So I knew, okay, chicken, rice, the sweet potatoes, eggs, turkey bacon. I love turkey bacon. Eat it every day. I ate every day up until
just until the last week.
Up until I think Friday we eliminated it.
So we do a macro-based approach, although we will do meal plans for some people, and we do a meal plan the last couple of days. But for the most part, it's a collaborative effort. You're writing your own meal plan. You're eating the foods that you like. But one of the big things that we do is we determine a person's food sensitivities when we start the program. So your food sensitivities came back about halfway through prep. And there were some bigger items on there that can be a little more challenging when it comes to eliminating an entire food group. So talk to me a little bit about your food sensitivities test, your initial emotional reaction to it, and maybe some of the benefits that you experienced after getting over that part.
I at first initially was like, this is bogus. No way. I was mad. I was like, no. And I remember emailing to my husband, what do you think about this? I don't know. I was just in denial. I was in denial. And then I grieved. And then I was like, all right, let's eliminate it. So it was the whey protein. What's the big thing? I was eating every day. I was indulging in eating my Ninja Creamy with my whey protein. I would use the almond milk, because that was good. At least, I didn't eliminated the dairy from that. Not that Greek yogurt. I was eating that probably almost every day. What else? Avocados. I did have some avocados today, and I admit that
sometimes it's not until you reintroduce them that you realize what symptoms they might have been causing.
Right. And and so my digestive system was totally, my inflammation, my gut, really, So I did, like I said, I introduced 2 ounces of avocado this morning for breakfast, and I'm like, no, not doing those anymore.
Bummer.
Yeah. So the whey protein and the non-fat Greek yogurt and the avocados were the biggest thing. Kodiak pancakes, no, eliminated all those.
Yeah.
The gluten, really.
Yeah.
I mean, if I have to, just kind of go back and like my family history. I mean, like my grandma was celiac, and my mom, kind of was diagnosed at the beginning of this year, and so it's like, okay, well, genetic predispositions. I need to probably eliminate the gluten out of my diet.
Right.
So yeah.
Okay.
But it's okay. It's fine. I love oatmeal. So
yeah. Right. At least we can keep the oats.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what foods were you eating in peak week? And for those that don't know, peak week is just the week leading up to the show.
Yeah. Rice, purple sweet potatoes, which are phenomenal. Actually, they're so good. And they're purple and they're pretty. Ground turkey. We did ground turkey. I didn't have to do the turkey. I did not do the lean turkey breast. I just did with 7% fat, right? Yep. And then what else do we do? Oatmeal. Yeah. Oatmeal, egg whites. In there. Yep. And I tapered back my turkey bacon just to 2 slices. I eat like 5 slices a day because I love it so much. I kept my microgreens in there. Mm-hmm. I kept my squash in there. Yep. Yeah.
So one of the things you're hearing theme is carbs. We don't cut carbs.
Yeah.
There might be stretches of time that we cut them for a brief period. Some people might process and digest them a little better than others, but we really get to know each individual athlete. And I think one of the cool things working with Heather was we figured out pretty quickly that her body loves carbs.
Loves them. I didn't even know that.
Yeah, lower to moderate fats. Like we don't have to go crazy with the fats, but your body just really responds well to carbs.
So good to her. And I had no idea because again, I've done the keto, I've done the Atkins, I've done the whole no carbs. I was afraid to eat carbs until Jill helped me understand.
And your protein was a little excessive.
Yeah.
Probably. I believe in high protein, but there's also that threshold where our digestion slows down a little bit, and maybe it's just a little too much for us.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I think you got your digestion and nutrition really dialed in time for the show.
Yeah.
And it takes a lot of stress out because you're not worrying about these digestive symptoms when you should just be focusing on your mindset going into the show.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So let's see. What kind of cravings, if any, did you experience when you were in prep?
Not a lot, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I think because we were able to keep my carbs at a higher percentage, or for myself, that a bowl of oatmeal is like, I don't know, it felt like, I don't know, like I was eating a bowl of cereal. I don't know. I don't even like cereal, so I don't know why I use that as my analogy. But it was just so filling for me that I didn't have a lot of cravings. I will admit, my peak week though, towards the end, it was the brownies. I prayed brownies up until last night, and I still I made a pan of brownies. I was like, I want brownies, and so I made a pan of brownies last night. I'm like, all right, I'm good.
Perfect.
But that, I didn't have any cravings at all. I think I didn't have the cravings though too, is because I felt so good. My gut and my digestive system was so good that I knew if I were to slip or sneak something in, then it would throw me off entirely.
Right.
So yeah.
The results become the addicting part.
100%. Oh yeah. Yeah.
So let's see. After your show, we referenced a little post-show treat with those brownies.
Yes.
So she brought me one of these, and oh my goodness, I'm lucky that she has one left in her freezer that I get to take home with me.
I bought a dozen. I don't know why. My husband's like, "Why did you buy a dozen? You only needed one." I was like, "I don't know. I just
because I could."
Because I could. So I brought 4 to the show. And I put
so give a little shout out to your friend who makes those and this incredible bakery.
What is it? The Grain Artisan Bakery in down in Snohomish off of First Street. And her ingredients are clean. They're organic, as much as she possibly can. But I requested gluten-free and vegan-free because knowing we took out the dairy. So I wanted caramel. I love anything caramel. So it was the caramel frosting and then the artisan brownie that she makes.
Yeah.
Phenomenal.
Absolutely
really
phenomenal.
Yeah.
So the day after the show, we did an intuitive eating day just to allow you some freedom and flexibility. What did you make? What was it like to do a whole family meal and get to participate again?
You know, it was actually kind of a relaxing morning. I woke up and I didn't have anything scheduled like for a workout, and did I go to the gym that day? I think I went. Oh, I did. Because it was raining, so I went and just walked. I walked. I was like, well, I want to go for a walk. It's raining, and I don't walk in the rain because I'm, princess like that, I guess. I don't know. I don't want to get my hair wet. No. So I ended up, but yeah. And then I came home from that, and I went right back into having my normal breakfast. Yeah. I had my oatmeal, my eggs, my turkey bacon, just all of that. And then for lunch, the same thing. I had I don't know. I feel better when I'm eating just, I don't know, to the plan, I guess. Right. To my plan, to what I like to eat. I did make turkey. I did make like a turkey chili for the family, and they loved that. And actually, I did make my family some Rice Krispie treats, and they loved that. Instead of butter, I used coconut oil, and no one knew, and it was great. And then I think by 6 p.m., I text you, and I was like, all right, Jill, I'm done.
Ready to go back on the plan, yeah. Set the new macros and let's do this.
Yeah, I don't even think I lasted not even like, I lasted 24 hours maybe. Right. I was like, I'm done. I'm good. That's done.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of decision fatigue that comes into play. And when you are so busy as we are with life and training and all that goes into this, sometimes not having to put thought into what you're going to eat. Yeah, you already know it.
I already know
it. It digests well. Yeah. It's already on hand. You don't have to go out and buy it.
Exactly. Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about show day. So obviously going into a show, you have certain expectations or like a picture painted in your mind of what it might be. What was something that surprised you in a positive way about show day weekend that you really didn't expect?
I love this question. The camaraderie of other competitors. That was I've been to a couple bodybuilding shows. So I've submerged myself like in the bodybuilding space, like going to show. I think that was like I've been 3 this year, just as a spectator, supporting friends. I've flew to Arizona to support a friend. But I've never been able to go backstage. So that was, to be able to be backstage and to meet the other competitors, the camaraderie, how nice everyone was, how supportive everyone is. The energy you give, you're going to get the same energy back. I mean, even other coaches that I knew that had competitors were just hyping me up, making me feel comfortable, and having their teammates, hype me up. And that was the biggest surprise, and it was amazing to experience and to feel.
I do love hearing that. Yeah. And thank you to all the competitors out there for just being good human beings, because it is easy to get in your head on show day and self-conscious and nervous backstage and maybe kind of be in your shell. So for those of you that reached out, it really does make a big difference, especially for first-time competitors who are kind of navigating that first-time show experience.
And I allowed myself to be vulnerable that day too, and I let a lot of the competitors know this is my first show, and then they just embraced me with open arms. And I'm now friends with some of them on social media. We go back and forth a lot, which is just cool. You just make new friends. And I mean, I know the guy that won overall wellness, her and I go back and forth. I'm excited for her. I'm so excited. And then I was thrilled that she won overall.
That's a really cool concept, how in this sport, when we're on stage, we are competing against the other person for that placement or that trophy, but really we're competing against ourselves. And that is our last personal best, or that fear that might be in the back of our minds telling us that we're not worthy, or we can't do this, or we don't belong up there. So every one of us fights those internal battles just to get to the stage. So I think that by the time you're there, you really have this profound respect for the others that have gone through the same thing that you have to get there. They've all suffered through their cardio. They've all packed their Tupperware with their boring meals and said no to the slice of cake or no to the glass of wine at the party, or had to explain why they're carrying a big jug of water for the 12th time. But
restaurant, oh my gosh, I did a happy hour in August with friends, and I brought in my water and I brought in my meal. And then they order food and I'm just sitting there eating out of my container, and being sure, thinking no one's going to notice, but they all know.
They all notice.
What are you eating over there?
Everyone wants to know. You try to be discreet and not be the center of attention over it. So show day check-ins, or the day before show day where we did check-ins, that was kind of a cool experience, and you never quite know what to expect, but you get to interact with some of the judges and the promoters. Do you have any cool stories of that day for us? Something that maybe lightened the mood?
I know, right. Well, we don't, Dominic, and that was the first time we're meeting him. So check in. So I had Jill with me the whole time holding my hand, because I'm like, I've never done this before either. So, and the one question he asked me if I had any dreams, and I laughed, and I love that question because I was like, actually, one dream that I had for just like the whole prep about getting on stage was that I forgot to shave my legs the day of my tan. And I remember in that dream, I got my tan, and I was like, oh crap. Sorry, I didn't mean to shave your arm. I was like, crap, I forgot to shave my legs. I can't go back. So I remember that, but that was it. And I totally shared it. And he laughed hysterically. But like, I forgot about it because it was literally like a week before. And then I was like, actually,
and that's a very common thing, just a random show day nightmare, like
random
getting there and forgetting your suit.
So that whole week during peak week, I literally was like, I shaved every day. I was like, even though I didn't need to, I was like, I'm just like muscle memory, like, okay, remember Saturday, shave your legs before your tan,
right? So
So
let's see. Walk me through show day eve, from going down to get your tan and then up to bedtime. What was that little lead up period like for you?
So my husband and kids were there with me, and they were in the hotel room. Of course, my tan 4:45, and I went down there, and I had never been spray tan. That was my first time ever in 46 years to get spray tan, and that's another vulnerable moment, because they're like, all right, get down, get naked, and I'm like, oh. And then you're just like, okay, find a tent. I'm like, okay. And so then again, I just let everyone know this. I've never done this before. I'm first timer. And then everyone just like eases up on you, because they're like, okay, they start walking me through. And so, I got my spray tan, got complimented because Jill here gives a protocol on how to prep your skin before a tan. And after the gal goes, oh, you must have listened to the protocol. I'm like, well, my coach actually.
It makes such a difference.
Because like the tan, she said, just was like beautiful, and it stayed, and there's no spotting or anything like that.
Color was nice and rich and dark.
It was great. So I did that, and then I knew finals was going on, but it was men's at the time, and for the natural show for Saturday. And so I ended up going back to the room, kind of hanging out. And then once I knew the women were going to go on, I went down and I watched the women's figure, and I watched the wellness, and watched some of the bikini, just so that I could have an idea of myself, like what this stage was like. And I'm glad I did that, because I thought that we were going to come on from the stage and then go off the other way. No, it was like you come on and you go off the same way. So I had to not panic in the moment when I realized that, but I had to just kind of practice my routine, and then walking off the stage.
Practicing exiting from a different side, because it was different than what you practiced. So
exactly.
Very important tip for competitors the day before. Like, one of the things we did at check-in was we didn't get to go up on the stage, but we got to walk up to it and at least feel the texture to know what we were up against. Was this carpet? Was this grippy flooring? What were we up against? So we at least knew. And just to be able to see the size of the stage in person, because some stages are really big, and it feels like a long walk from the wing of the stage all the way out to that center box, whereas other stages feel smaller and it's not as long. You can kind of count off how many steps it's going to be. So just being able to walk through some of those things and be mentally prepared ahead of time is good. So you're not left trying to make these last minute mental adjustments right before going on stage on show day.
No, I'm really glad that I was able to do that. And I was because otherwise I would have, oh my goodness, I would have probably I don't know, but and then then that night, so I did that. So I watched, and then I just watched the wellness, the natural wellness, and then I watched a little bit of the bikini, and then went back to the room, and I was tired. My adrenaline by that time, and kind of some of the adrenaline for that day just kind of sort of calm down a bit. And then I ate my last meal, and then I was in bed by like 8:30 and fast asleep. And it was daylight savings, so we fell back, so we got an hour's sleep. So I ended up waking up at like 4:30, almost 5, which 5:30, which is my normal wake up time anyway. I brought my own coffee maker. because I brought my own electric griddle.
Yeah.
And I made my own coffee because I'm kind of a coffee snob. And yeah, and I just drank a cup of coffee, and yeah, we joke. I'm totally gonna like here we go, TMI, but whatever. But this is a real thing. So my biggest worry too was like my digestive system was not going to be on track for the day of show. And I don't care who you are, when your digestive system is off, like it affects you mentally.
Ruins your whole day.
Whole day. And you're bloated. You're just like, you don't feel good.
Especially if you're posing in a bikini on stage and you need your lower abdominals to be as flat as possible.
Seriously. So I drank a cup of coffee. My digestive system was beautiful. I remember texting Jill, and you know what you said, it was good luck. I'm like, it's going to be a lucky day today. Yeah. And then the morning, I just relaxed in the morning until you got there.
So I got there about 7:30 to do makeup.
My dog. Sorry.
And she was super chill. Like you can tell when you show up and you're around a competitor on show day, you know, you really feel that energy coming off of them. And she was just super calm, super chill. We got started on makeup. The daughters came in a couple times to take a peek at the makeup when we're a little horrified, turned around and walked out. We told them, don't worry, you're going to see it when it's all finished. But then once you were glammed up, tanned, like all the pieces came together and you looked at yourself, like what was that feeling?
Holy crap, this is really happening. Yeah. Like this is really going to happen today. Like I'm actually going to get on stage. Like, and I think that's when the jitters really set in. I didn't feel jittery. I didn't feel any like anxious until my makeup was done, hair was done, and I put this suit on. I was like, this is really happening.
Everything becomes real. And again, up until then, you have all these things that you're checking off. But at that point, you've now checked everything off of your list except for grabbing that competitor number and going downstairs and getting up on stage. So natural that the nerves would kind of hit in that moment. What were some things you did to kind of calm those feelings of nerves?
You know, I think for me, what I started doing 8 weeks prior to my show was journaling. So I journaled every morning. I would wake up, my morning routine. I'd write, you know, about 5 things or so, what I was grateful for my day, what I was going to accomplish, what I was going to do that day before they actually happened. So kind of manifesting my day. So I've been working really hard on just, you know, just self-talk and like, you know, like I'm worthy. And whatever happens, happens, and just have fun with it. I think that was the biggest thing, because everyone else, when I would open up my vulnerability, or I open up and say, "Oh, my first day, my first show," like they were just like, "Just have fun." That's all everyone said to me. Just have fun. And so I was like, "Just have fun with it." You know, it is what it is. And like, I've come this far. I've accomplished this goal, this standard that I set for myself, and I'm doing it. Because there was a period of time where I was talking about it for a couple of years, and actually like be doing it was huge. I'm a believer, so like I just kind of prayed to myself. I did catch 2 friends that I saw coming out of the bathroom. I wasn't supposed to go in. This is kind of like divine intervention happens, right? But like I was going in the bathroom, not to go to the bathroom because I didn't have to go. I just was like, I'm just gonna walk in the bathroom. I'm gonna look at myself in the mirror. I don't know. I just wanted to look, because didn't know what I was doing backstage. And they walked out, and I asked them both to pray for me and over me, and they did, and that just helped calm my jitters and my nerves, and that just made me feel like, all right, I can do this. I'm worthy. I am worthy. So
that moment before you stepped on stage, you're waiting in the wings. You're next. They've already sent that person. What's going through your head in that moment?
Oh my gosh. Don't trip. Don't trip. Don't fall. And just remember my routine. I blacked out. I totally blacked out.
And that's the next question. What do you remember about being on stage?
Nothing. Okay. Nothing. Okay. Actually, I do remember, my daughter saying, "Go, Mom." My old daughter, Reese. I remember that. That was for prejudging. That's all I remember is her. And then and then during prejudging, I literally blacked out. And I didn't, and like Jill says, that's why we practice our posing, to create that muscle memory, because all I remember is saying, "Okay, quarter turn." And I was just like, I just felt like one of those, I don't know, like a ballerina on one of those
little music box,
just spinning around, doing my poses. And then I don't even know how long I was up on, how long like that was even for.
Right.
Like, I don't know, was it like 5 minutes? Longer?
Maybe less.
Less? Okay.
Yeah. Maybe a little less.
Like an hour, but yeah.
The time distortion is weird. Think about mindset a little bit. So what was your mindset going into this show?
What was my mindset? It was going into it, I really just wanted to have, again, fun with it. Because I'd been to some other, shows, and I actually got the opportunity to go kind of be stage mom for a friend of mine in Arizona. So that was really good for me because I was able to walk from registration to the whole day of a show day, to until like the end, until finals, all of it. So that was so I just I think my mindset was really mostly just to have fun with it.
Yeah.
And just
so because you saw some of the behind the scenes, what did you think was going to be the hardest or most challenging part about show day versus what was actually the most difficult part?
Honestly, the posing.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Okay. Yeah.
Like that was it.
Yeah.
Everything else, I was like, I got this.
Yeah.
I got this. It was the posing, remembering the posing, the quarter turns, and posing my body in a way to really accentuate,
right.
The glute, the muscle, just my me, I guess, right? So
I would say people kind of underestimate how difficult and how important posing is.
Yeah.
It's challenging. It takes a lot of time, a lot of energy, a lot of effort. It looks so effortless and flawless, but the reason it looks that way is because of the amount of practice that goes into it behind the scenes, for sure.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Definitely.
So with every first-time athlete, you always wonder, is this going to be a one and done? Is this a bucket list item that they've now checked off? They've completed the goal and they're horrified and they never want to come back? Or did they get bit by the competition bug and now they're hooked? This is their thing. So Heather, what camp do you fall in?
I definitely got bit.
Yeah.
I got bit. I was like, oh, I got so much more in me.
Yeah.
I got so much more in me. Yeah, I got bit.
Yep.
I will take a good...
And it happened before you even stepped on stage. Like we were setting goals for next season before you even completed this show.
I know. I was already talking about my reverse and talking about what we want to improve upon.
Yeah. I think that's really healthy too, because there can be this feeling of a letdown when you've worked so hard towards this goal for so long and now you've achieved it.
Yeah.
And it's passed and you're kind of left like, well, what now? This whole finish line that I've had my eyes focused on for so long is no longer there. It's in the rearview mirror. Where am I going? So setting a new goal is one of the best tips I have for managing the post-show blues that can come up for people too. Like as exciting and rewarding as it is to complete a competition, you feel this sense of emptiness afterwards because you're now past this big event, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely. Yeah.
So this part is really important to me because you are a mother of 2 young daughters and body image is something that a lot of people are concerned about, especially when women over the age of 40 might get into bodybuilding and suddenly seem to be hyperfixated on our bodies, very dedicated to our nutrition and focused on losing body fat. So how do you navigate that and still work with your daughters on maintaining a healthy body image?
Yeah, no, I feel that I've done a very good job with teaching my daughters that we are strong and we are athletic. Yeah. Those are the two. We never use the other S word, skinny word, ever.
Nope.
And it's an insult. Don't ever call me, anyone, my daughter. It's an insult. Yeah. So strong and athletic. Yeah. And my daughters, they're swimmers. They play, they are on a swim team, and and just teaching them the importance of having the muscle. Yeah. And how the longevity just not only just will help them, in their sport, but just the longevity of just their life.
Absolutely.
Is so important. And we know that now. I mean, I'm so glad that we live in a time that we do now, that we can, a lot of the studies that come out and having that muscle mass on us is so crucial. And, thankfully, we've talked about this. I have 29 years of muscle maturity. So I love that. Like I've never not worked out. Like I've always worked out and done something, whether it was, just weight training, lifestyle to, I went through a marathon phase. I tried I hate running. And then CrossFit, but and then bodybuilding, resistant training. I mean, that's for
right. Yeah. And I think the sport's so beautiful because it does encourage women to take up space.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, definitely. Like I love being at the gym.
Absolutely.
I don't know, and I'm lifting a little more than the guys in the gym. I'm like,
it's empowering.
It's empowering.
It absolutely is empowering.
And that's definitely where I want to, with my daughters is I want them to always feel that empowerment over themselves and that, that control over, themselves and that, taking care of ourselves, working out, gym, lifting weights, whatever. Like it's not selfish.
No,
it's not selfish.
It's an act of self-care.
It's an act of self-care.
100%.
Yeah.
So,
my dog is dreaming.
Fiona. That's adorable.
Yeah, my dog's over there dreaming.
So, what are some things that you can do to help promote a healthy body image with your kids? Like, if you're giving tips to other parents, like, what are just some phrases that you can say, or maybe some mindsets around food that you help instill in them?
I teach our daughters, I've taught them how to read food labels. And I think that is so important. I think once your kids know how to read, like they just need to know like proportion control because that is how easy it is for a kid to sit down and eat like a big box of Cheez-Its or whatever, whatever it is.
Anyone. Kids. Like we're all guilty of not knowing. I mean, it's depressing when you look at what a portion size is.
Exactly. But you know, but also like protein.
Yep.
We always say, okay, you have at least, 0.8 to 1 gram. Is easier to say 1 gram for whatever your body weight is, right? And
prioritize that protein.
Yeah. And so I do. Like I love to cook. I love to cook. I serve them, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. But like breakfast, it's going to like for my kids, it's sprouted oats, and I'll put protein powder in there for them.
Yeah.
And and they love it, or it's like eggs or it's bacon. I make homemade sourdough bread, so it's that. And dinner, it's always just like protein, a healthy carb.
Yeah.
And a vegetable.
Yeah, I think it promotes a really healthy relationship with food too. Nothing's off limits. It's not mom's on a diet or restricting this. You're just making choices that align with your goals.
Yeah, exactly.
For right now. So I don't hear this talk of good foods, bad foods either. It's more prioritizing the things that are better for our bodies.
Exactly.
If we think of ourselves like plants and we want our flowers to grow pretty outside, they need fresh, clean water and maybe some nutrients. But if we take a bottle of soda and go dump it on that plant, is it going to grow as healthy?
Right.
So we have things that are better options than others.
Yeah, and my husband and I have always been really conscious on like the food that we eat and we provide for our family, our kids, and like for help. We just had Halloween last week, right? My older one, she wanted to go trick or treating just because she wanted to hang with her friends. My younger one, she figured out because the last couple of years we've been doing go trick or treating, pick out your few favorite candies, and then we buy it back. We end up giving it to like the garbage man. Like, thank you for being our car. Yeah. Anyways, and then or just wherever, I don't know. And then then they get like a toy within like a certain like a limit. Well, my 9-year-old just realized like cut out the middleman. Like I don't even want to go trick or treating. I'm gonna go to swim practice with my friends.
Give me the toy.
So that's exactly what we did. So she just like I'm good. She still got buy the costume that she wanted and So
you didn't have to go out in the weather either.
I know, exactly. And
it's usually pouring down rain on Halloween around here anyways. So and that's another thing I wanted to compliment Heather on, although this isn't like her own doing necessarily, but the people around her. Heather has a really strong support system. And we always find that athletes tend to do better when they have that strong support system. So she has a strong, supportive spouse, navigating competition prep, especially for the first time with a spouse that is not used to the world of bodybuilding, can present a whole new batch of challenges. We go through the prep crankies and we get obsessive about the scale weight and probably talk about that way more than they care to hear about it. You know, it impacts our sleep sometimes. It
Mm-hmm.
impacts our mood. It might have a little bit of a hit on the libido, but you know, all in all, Heather has a wonderful support system at home and then with her friends and family. It was really cool to see them come immerse themselves in bodybuilding culture this weekend and watch the sport, ask the questions, to see them kind of picking out who they thought was going to be first place in each one of the divisions was really cool too. Cool. So they're asking questions, they're looking at the sport. I mean, you just had piles of flowers for you.
Oh my gosh.
Just so many people are so proud of you. And then beyond that, these other people who watch you more from a distance, who might be more in the acquaintance realm of things, are just crazy inspired by you. So what a powerful position to be in, that it's like you didn't seek this to be a position of power, but by your example and these healthy choices that you've made, you truly are inspiring people to make other healthy changes in their life. So kudos for that.
Thank you. Yeah, I don't know. That was supposed to be my bio, remember?
Yeah.
You know, my bio was supposed to be, I wanted to help inspire midlife women to just never give up on themselves.
Right.
Yeah.
So what advice would you give to someone who maybe has had it in the back of their mind that they wanted to compete one day?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, just go for it. Just do it. Live the lifestyle like a bodybuilder. And I think that's what I did do. I submerged myself in it. I listened to endless amounts of podcasts, you know, whether it was driving, cleaning, it's walking. So then I knew going into it what to expect.
Right.
And that is crucial. And when I say live like a bodybuilder, I mean like be consistent with tracking your food, working out, hire a coach. Because I am, when I hear people say that they're self-coached, I just good for you. Yeah. I personally could never self-coach. No. Because we learn, you get the prep goggles. There was weeks when I do check-ins and I was like, not this scale wasn't budging. I didn't think I was budging, but then I had you being able to like, look at this, point out like the wins.
Right.
Yeah. Right. So that's what I would say. I mean, just go for it, do it. I mean, and in that time, you'll find your people, you'll find your support system.
Yes.
Because I didn't initially feel like I had the support system.
Right.
There were days when you kind of feel alone.
Right.
And you're just like, okay, I'm going to the gym by myself, hanging out by myself.
Right.
Yeah. Or what am I doing? Why am I doing this? Is this taking up too much time? You know, am I being selfish? But you know, you have all these thoughts.
The self-doubt and the questions that creep in.
Am I worthy? I mean, and then you look at social, you know, again, we always post our best on social media. Whatever. You're like, no way. Like look at them. And then, you know, but I just had to really eliminate a lot of that.
So maybe that's it, or maybe it's something else. But if you could go back now and tell yourself at the beginning of prep, like one piece of advice, what would that advice be?
Do not compare.
Okay.
Do not compare yourself to anyone. Especially do not compare yourself as a amateur to a pro
So
athlete.
Important. Yeah.
Do not compare yourself to anyone at all. Because I mean, again, especially because now with social media the way that it is, I mean, we can look like, oh my gosh, no, I'm not good enough. You know, look at them, but do not compare yourself whatsoever.
Such important advice.
Yeah.
You know, this sport, I've said it before and I'll continue to say it. It's you versus you.
Yeah.
You know, you getting on stage this time was you beating the best that you've ever looked in your life.
Ever.
But knowing that the best you've looked in your life is going to be the new benchmark to beat.
Yes.
So it's like you don't get to sit back and rest on that win for too long. You're already picking it apart and seeing what that next level looks like.
What do they say? It's like your first show will always be your best worst show, right? Your best worst show. Yeah. So like I already, and you know, for me, like I'm a big visualizer. So like I just like visualize what I just have my body. The progression. I don't know, like how I'm gonna kind of carve out my body, chisel at it. You know,
that's such a cool way of explaining the sport, because bodybuilding is part sport, part art. So your body is the canvas, and you're going in and sculpting. And in the early days, you're just going in with these big old slabs of putty or plaster or clay and putting the big pieces on. Big heavy compounds, just adding muscle everywhere. And then once you get to the stage of a mature muscled physique. Now you're going in with those fine-tuning, detailed carving tools and really bringing out those areas that are going to help you best fit the criteria for your division.
Like, I didn't even know that I could look like that. I was like, I look like that. I could look like, even like me as like, the last 6 weeks, my body was like really making all the changes. And that's what everyone said. And then I was like, and then when I really saw the changes, and then progress photos.
Yes.
Always take this progress. Do not skip a beat on progress photos. Do not, like, seriously, because I go back and I'm like, whoa.
That's your inspiration.
That's my inspiration. Yes.
To go back and look at how far you've come and where you are now.
And how many progress photos did I send? How many I sent Jill so many side by sides. All right, okay, this is how far I've come, just so I could see for myself.
Yeah, and that's the best kind of comparison you could ever do.
Yeah.
So what's next? Obviously, we're in improvement season.
So yeah, we're reverse diet, right? Reverse, and then improve. Yeah, we've decided to change our. Are we asking that question? Changing our categories. Improvement season. I already know where we need to improve upon and what we're going to work on and what we're going to sculpt and continue to sculpt. And I'm excited.
I think all of it's achievable. It's just fun to complete this first milestone and then have new goals that just move past where you are right now, level you up to the next one.
I'm really excited actually. Yeah, I would love to next. Yeah, I mean, I say this now and I'm gonna have to really but I would love to do a couple back-to-back next year.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
right. Anything else you would like to share that we didn't get a chance to go over?
Let's see. I just think overall the experience was so surreal.
Yeah.
And it was amazing. And I have zero regrets. I learned a lot about myself. I learned a lot about myself, and I think we've talked about this, even just, kind of back to just, there are challenges in your marriage or in your relationships, when you are in prep or competing or when you decide to go down this route, my husband and I have had some really hard conversations, through that. And I'm glad. I'm great. So I think that, where was I at? I lost my train of thought.
Think about the spouse. Navigating that, getting stronger because it kind of forces you to address this stuff and open up and share.
And just in share, and because again, when you're in prep and so many different things, just the emotions run through your mind constantly. And nerves. I remember at week 5 I started crying all of a sudden because I was like, we're coming to an end, what's gonna be next? And then that's at week 5 when I really was like, I had to start thinking about post show. And just because it's I was like, well, what am I gonna do after this? Because really, I don't want to go backwards. For me, I was like, I don't want to go backwards. And I, and having such a great coach like you, Jill, you understand that also. And that I don't want to go on this, I don't want to yo-yo anymore. No. I'm done. I'm 46 years old. I have yo-yoed my whole life through either different diet fads or pregnancies, and I'm done yo-yoing.
Well, and I think now you have this plan, this way of living that feels sustainable. You're not cutting out carbs or all the delicious things. You've learned this new way of eating that gets you excited about your meals. You don't feel like you're restricting or depriving yourself. So when you can see an achievable way to maintain these results that you've achieved and then continue to improve season over season, that's going to make you want to stick with it.
And I feel good. I feel good. I feel healthy. I love wearing my clothes now.
That's a good feeling.
It's a good feeling.
Absolutely. Just feeling good in your own skin.
Good in my own skin. I feel like I've taken just years off my just my body also. And I started doing this a couple weeks ago, but my most recent is every week I do probably twice, maybe 3 times a week, 10 pull-ups in a row. But I'm really having a hard time counting. But I can do 10 pull-ups in a row. And push-ups.
Yes,
like
functional strength,
just functional
right?
strength. Like that is so important to me. Like at this age and stage in life, that's so important to me.
Yeah, and many goals within the goal. Like just because you set the goal of bodybuilding or getting on stage doesn't mean that there's not all these little micro goals that can fall under that. So kudos for embracing this bodybuilding lifestyle. Thank you so much for sharing it with us today. So for anyone that watched, be sure to give this video a like and leave an encouraging comment for Heather below. I know that your encouragement means a lot to her, and I love seeing it too, of course. So if you would like to find out a little more about food sensitivity testing, or how to work with me and Team Special Forces to reach your health, diet, and nutrition goals, check the show notes for a link below on how to find out more information. And you don't have to have the goal of competing or stepping on stage or ever donning a bikini to work with me. Maybe you just want to figure out how to get better digestion, and then how to get yourself back on track. So don't be shy. I would absolutely love to work with you too. Thank you.
Thank you.